We shall not be distracted.
It's waterproof, I'm sure. It's fine.
So, let's take a look at what Civil War.
This day has already gone off with a bang.
Oh man.
It's fine. It's fine.
How do you turn on the mic?
Do you remember me? Your mom's always sad.
Gotta just put the lights
In your shoes. You're a wanted man. I don't do that anymore. Or people who think you did it come right now. And I'm planning on taking you alive.
Captain, while a great many people see you as a hero, there are some who prefer the word vigilante. You've operated with unlimited power and no supervision power. That's something the world can no longer tolerate.
I know how much fucking this here. Stay out of this one. Please. You'll only make this worse.
You saying you arrest me?
There will be consequences.
Captain, you seem a little defensive. Well, it's been a long day. If we can accept limitations, we're no better than bad guys. That's not the way I see it. Sometimes I want to punch you in your personal teeth. I just want to make sure we consider all our options. These people that shoot at you usually wind up shooting at me too.
You know what's about to happen. Do you really want to punch your way out of this?
What do we do?
We fight. Sorry, Tommy. You know I wouldn't do this if I had any other choice. But he's my friend. So is I.
Yay! All right. So our debate today, each person gets 1 minute to present, and then the counter person can have a little bit of time to ask their question. All right, so can I have our first team up? Just the first presenter? Yay! Come on down. And then who's your counter from Team Captain America? Counter, go. All right, and go.
Okay. We represent Team Iron Man, a team that is not only in favor of the citizens, but in favor of the superheroes of America. Before we start, we would like to thank our fellow superheroes on Captain America's side for their commendable efforts on trying to protect the citizens. We feel in supporting the Superhero Registration Act, it will help keep everyone accountable for their actions, provide better training for superheroes, and overall give the citizens of America what this country needs: safety and civil order. Without it, we run the risk of losing the ability to appropriately enforce the law upon everyone, including the superheroes. We need justice to rise.
Yes.
No more Hulk smash.
Yes.
No more of the Thing running amok through New York just because he thought they didn't respect him enough. No more voodooing for Mr. Voodoo.
Yes.
No more Thor destroying public property because his dad didn't let him marry Jane Foster.
Yes.
No
Yeah,
more
right,
destruction,
right,
damage, and no more loss of innocent lives.
Yes.
Who's with me?
Yay!
I would like to bring up our next speaker, Miss Eva, a mother, a heartbroken mother who tragically lost her precious son at the school bomb. She's only 14. Mother?
Yay! We have our opening opening remark from our other team, so.
Alright, so I'm towards Captain America's team, and before we start, I want to talk about more of the Civil War book, because we have people who don't know what we're talking about. In the comic book, it's a conflict that is a rise between whether or not the secret identities of the superheroes should be out with the government or the public, whichever. And Captain America says no, we should keep them safe, do the safety, and then it comes up with inequality issues and then Iron Man is towards that we should
Yes, yes.
get their identities out due to what she said. I lost where I was. I'm so sorry. And then what we're going to be talking about is basically what our perception of what most of the superheroes see, the traditional ways and all that. And so, yeah.
All right. Awesome.
SRA.
All right, mother.
You can do it, Mom.
All right, give her some support, guys.
Yay!
You're on, Mom.
My child needs justice. My child deserves justice. His murderer needs to be punished for his crimes. As a mother, I need this for my child, and I need this for myself. I need closure. My son was murdered by one of these superheroes.
Murderers!
Which one is which? How will justice be brought if no one's paying for these murders of innocent lives? Justice isn't being served. Murderers and heroes are merged together. They need to be separated and identified. Do it for the mothers who need closure. Do it for the citizens' safety, and do it for me.
Maybe a comment, question?
I'd like to ask, can you go back up to the podium, please?
You're at that podium.
Earlier in the comic book, Iron Man is stating that the whole point of this act is to weed out the young people and the people that aren't experienced superheroes. It's not directly attacking superheroes, which weren't responsible for the death of your son. It was the young people who were chasing a villain, and the villain is the one that killed all of those children. So technically, it is at the fault of both young children and the villain. But the superheroes were not directly involved. The superheroes are facing the repercussions of that child's actions. So I want to know why you're blaming the superheroes for something that children and a villain did.
I don't know, who, we're all together, from the citizens' point of view. We don't know, they're witch, they're dressed in heat, they're dressed with masks on, and all that stuff.
All right, awesome.
Yes.
All right, next person up.
Okay, that's me, right?
Whoever wants to go next. Fail.
Okay, mine is for the safety of everybody. But just as the youth population has concern for the safety of their families, so too the superheroes have the same concern. By signing the Superhuman Registration Act, they will show their allegiance to the United States government and the citizens that they protect. By reviewing their identities and submitting to training and making themselves accountable to the United States government for their actions while protecting the civilian population, the superheroes are doing what is right and are setting themselves apart from the supervillains who are out of control. Superheroes use their powers to thwart the day-to-day crime and neutralize threats against humanity by the criminal rivals, the supervillains, the aliens, the supernatural entities, and even ideological enemies, such as the Nazis. Safety. That's what we need.
All right. Counter question?
5, 4, 3.
Counter question?
I'm up.
You bring up registration and the Nazis. I'm not quite so sure how we would define that as relevant, considering the most involvement Nazis had with registration was the Jews being forced to register, and we all know how that turned out for them.
Right. But
Nice.
this is not based on the same requirement that the Jews had, you know what I mean? This is for the safety of their families and, you know.
The Nazis believed that was for the safety of their families as well.
Hold on.
Yeah, I know, but the Nazis were, I mean, that was like a whole different era.
All right, good.
Yeah.
All right, stop. All right, your hand.
Woo.
It's a lot harder when you can't just like keep going, right?
Yeah.
All right, next one up.
Alright guys, we did one
Where's your
question
beanie?
and we're up. We gotta like.
Go ahead.
Put on a status you
Hey guys.
Counter question that?
Okay, I'll listen to you.
No.
No, you gotta do yours first. Do it first. Let's hear it.
I don't have a lot of power because I'm just a citizen of America. So I don't have any knowledge about historical events I could compare this Registration Act to. But I am a taxpayer. I do pay taxes.
Yay.
I am aware that SHIELD is being funded by the government, and that the government is being funded by taxes. So I do indirectly fund the SHIELD organization and all of the superheroes that are part of SHIELD. And I feel that as a taxpayer, I have the right to know where these superheroes are, because I'm paying for them. I'm paying for the support that SHIELD gives them. I'm paying for the support that SHIELD gives their families. And I'm paying for SHIELD to make sure that there's more good than bad.
All right.
Yes.
Good job.
Everybody is safe. Shield me.
All right, Cameron.
It's a technicality since they're not all superheroes are part of SHIELD, so even if you're paying taxes, you wouldn't know where exact one. Yeah, the identity is supposed to be kept secret. The government wants to be aware that their identity is going to be put out into the public. They'll just be registered to put out SHIELD. So even if you're investing in it, you wouldn't know who they are. They'll still be just common citizens.
Yeah, but if they
That's
destroyed
true,
your property, you
but,
want to know who did it. Who's going to pay for it?
Think of cars, vehicles. Vehicles can kill people, but they can also help. There are accidents with cars, but there's a lot of there are a lot of steps that you have to go through, paperwork and such, to get a car and to have that car be legal. There currently are no steps similar to the ones getting a vehicle for superheroes. And I just think it's appropriate for the government to have some view of what's going on with superheroes, just like they have
Right.
some view.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, next up.
Just. I guess I'll go next.
Yay! Okay.
Hey, drop your pencil.
My point is questioning the leadership of Captain America. Superheroes, as we know, are viewed as role models and leaders, and moreover, Captain America is viewed as a leader of most of all superheroes. And he was once a soldier. He's viewed as a man who is a man of honor, and the way he acted with this whole issue with violence does not make him more credible as a leader. And I expected him to act with honor, being a soldier, but he didn't do that. And he did not see the Registration Act as a way of keeping the citizens safe, but he placed himself above the law and the needs of other people. And as a leader, he was supposed to put the needs of the people above himself. So that's what I think.
Yay!
All right,
They just have a whole bunch of
God,
plugs.
I have a brain. But one thing I want to point out is that the government also uses unethical ways to get the superheroes, such as making drones and stuff like that to kill other superheroes. So if you're going to question Captain America's morality, I think you should also question the government's morality as well, the one that you're actually putting all your trust in. They aren't so black and white as you would think they are. They're actually using drones. They're actually forcing these people to go. So are they as ethical as you think they are?
I understand the government does that, but you can't act in such a way like you can't act fire with fire. Just the things. He's a leader. He's supposed
But Captain
to.
America.
He's a leader. He as a leader has to notice such things as what the government is doing is wrong and is supposed to point it out. If there is need to change, he should be able to say that government has to change.
All right, awesome,
Yes.
awesome.
Yay!
You guys are like Republicans at a debate.
Thanks a lot, Tracy, and thanks, Trace, for bringing up my point. I'm Praveen Sound, and I'm an old citizen of United States, and actually I'll be addressing both of your points in my argument. You're right that government may be doing wrong things, but as true citizens, we have our ways to handle those issues, right? We can actually, and the act is not passed, it's not yet law, it's going to go to Senate or Congress. They will have enough time to present the arguments against it, create a lobby or fight it through the legitimate ways. They cannot just go and get on the street fights. I mean, that's how we civilians are supposed to be. That concludes my argument. Thank you for my questions.
Yeah.
All right.
In a quote from the comic book, it said that I know the fact that Congress has responded so swiftly just proves what an effective political operator and administrator is. But it's saying that Congress already made a decision to go through it as long as they are not thinking about it, they'll be implementing it. You can see that by them building that prison and already bringing in superheroes onto their side. The war has already started. So the actions are done. There's nothing to think about anymore going that way.
So to reply to your question, what you are saying is because Congress has started the action, there is nothing that can be done to repeal the law in
I'm
legitimate.
saying that.
I mean, there are ways. They can still present, they can have amendments to the law. They can repeal the law. And that's all you can do.
All right.
Yay!
And I want to remind you guys that sometimes you have to let other people, your audience is going to make the decision, right?
That was a false.
But that, how many politicians? Well, we'll do a lesson.
Yeah.
You guys are not. All right. Next person up.
Okay. Wesley!
Was that what you were
Greetings to all who have attended this fine meeting today, and all the available civilians to be here. I shall not pull any punches, and I will speak the absolute truth. As leader of the free world, I believe that this act, while it is an infringement on the rights of the superheroes, should be carried out for the good of the nation. We cannot afford to be in this age or time without being informed. Previous events like the bus crash have proven this. And I ask you, what is safety and the knowledge you know you're safe worth to you? To me and the nation I govern, we value safety and knowledge over some petty beneficial infringements to superheroes and their rights. It's not like we are putting a collar in your neck that will kill you if you press a button. You still have freedom, just not near as much. Because they have proven time and time again that control and training are of dire importance for the younger generation, mainly.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Presidential.
Yes.
He was supposed to be our president.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the president.
There you go.
Yes.
President.
Any kind of arguments? Come on!
Members of the president.
There wasn't a substance in that argument. That was just like an endorsement speech.
All right.
You didn't email to anybody.
Sometimes that's what.
Don't even bother.
All right. Awesome.
Yay! President! President Wesley.
All right, next up. Next up.
Everybody's gone?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
good job,
okay.
guys.
Okay, no.
That's fine, I won't go.
She has to do
No,
that.
I asked if everybody else went.
Yeah.
That's fine, I won't go.
No,
Now, are you doing closing statements?
Huh?
Are you doing closing statements?
Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so on behalf of Iron Man and the rest of our superheroes,
Yay!
Yeah.
we feel that this is a great opportunity for superheroes and the government to work together, side by side. Yes, I understand taxpayers are part of who's paying for this, but this puts us all equal. It's not someone trying to think that they're better than us. It's not someone trying to think that they're above the law. This shows that we are all on the same page. By having this, we're going to be able to better train the up-and-coming superheroes. We're going to be able to better track so we can know who's kind of going off the grid, trying to do stuff on their own, who that might be causing problems. So we think that this is the best thing to take care of our community and take care of the rest of the nation.
Yay!
All right. Awesome. All right, good job, guys. So, Ed, you guys did a great job on timing. You have. All right, Team Captain America, you guys are up.
Throw some questions at him. Throw some questions at him, guys.
The point I'm using is that the events that are occurring in the novel, with the government intervening in the private lives of a percentage of the population, relates to racial profiling in the current world, where when a group of unexperienced reality show heroes cause the lives of innocent children and civilians to be taken, people are calling for and implementing a law that took away the right to privacy for all superheroes, even though they have not done nothing themselves to receive this sort of treatment. There are cases where this happens in reality, being the Jews and Muslims and like scapegoats. It happens all the time, but the manner in which we are reacting to the situation should not be the way it should be. If you wanted to do the SRA, you should take in the amateur superheroes who actually committed the offense instead of the people that are actually protecting you. Stereotyping and grouping an entire group of people into one faction when they have done nothing wrong is not only unethical, it's morally incorrect. And another instance where this happens in the current world is the Patriot Act, where you're just suspicious of someone, and because you're suspicious without any evidence, you can put them into a political, an authoritative investigation.
All right.
So she's speaking for two different topics because someone's not leaving.
All right. Good job. All right, Duran.
My question for you is that y'all actually talk about the privacy of the superheroes by this act, that it's an invasion of privacy. The only thing that's going to be known on this is the names. You need to take into account the fact that 90% of superheroes are already known. They don't wear a mask. You know who they are. How is this an invasion of privacy?
It's an invasion of privacy because they don't know their names, they don't know anything about them as well. Like, they know, if you're saying that they're going to be registered, so you would know where they're going at what time, what they're going to be doing, what are their tasks and realities.
That's not part of the. I was just gonna. That's not what the act is. It's not tracking your movements.
All right.
You won't have to rebuttal it like that. It wasn't allowed.
Next one up.
It's you don't track the movements.
And what's more important, privacy or safety?
Okay.
Who's going to pay for my destroyed property? But they don't know who did it.
They don't ask.
It's kind of the superheroes would rather give up than follow this act because like the privacy, right? They could be followed, like the morals that in the beginning would be okay, but like with anything, as time goes on, that act itself could change and the laws could become stricter. Like you see now how with all the mass shootings going on around the states, there's more stricter laws for gun control, and like the shooting that happened a while back, California already has strict laws, and they can't make it any stricter than just to take the gun back. Almost in the same way, if the act were to be put in place, not that I'm saying that it would, but there's a possibility that the law itself could become stricter and it would possibly infringe upon the superheroes' rights. Because some of them, before they were even heroes, they were citizens. So the privacy that essentially they would be giving up by going for this act, they would just be losing more and more rights, and they'd much rather give up being a superhero than be treated less than a human.
All right, good job.
Because you can actually renegotiate that, right? So you can actually renegotiate it if it's too strict.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
So, what you are saying is you wouldn't want the law because law will eventually become stricter.
It's a possibility.
That
That's
holds
a
true
what
for any.
Sorry.
Yeah,
You get to ask the question.
no, I
No, but it was a two-part question.
It's not a freaking two-part question.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So if you're saying that the law should not be there because it's eventually going to be stricter, that holds true for any law that we have today. How are they different from?
Well, I mean, in this case, it's more of like a privacy issue because you don't know superheroes when they do whatever they do. They don't know what possible danger they could be facing. They could be thinking it's some like amateur burglar that could be happening, but it could be something so much more, and then damage will be caused by said villain, and then it would put everyone else in danger. And if that were to happen, then people would blame the superheroes, not the villains, and then that law would probably add like little statements saying like if this happens, then they should be reprimanded in such a way.
All right, good job.
Is it possible for someone at the table to answer their rebuttal instead of the person up there?
Just the person.
Okay.
The team of Captain America is in the right because not only is the legislation flawed and the proposals simply illogical that S.H.I.E.L.D. has come up with, but also Captain America is a better man. He is a man of the people and for the people, who in the comic, when he sees that the fight is no longer helping civilians, would rather forfeit and turn himself and his team in rather than continue fighting, win the battle, win the war, but lose the trust of the people. On the other hand, Iron Man is a pampered punk who has lived his life being fed off a silver spoon and is simply too happy
Yay
to
for the
join
silver spoons.
S.H.I.E.L.D. is, and while Captain America was willing to give up, S.H.I.E.L.D. created a cyborg Thor who was only too happy to kill Bill Foster in a fight.
Whoever has a question, go.
In all your argument, is there logical fact that can be supported? Because I'm trying to find that out, because here is what happened in the war. Here is how the war started. Captain America got into argument with another captain, and he was the one who started all the destruction. Now, you're saying that he later realized that he was not supposed to start the war, and he stopped it. We need leaders who could actually anticipate all these consequences before the event happened, not after the, we need proactive people.
Yeah. Yeah.
As he put it, the start of the war was over an argument between Captain America and Maria Hill, and Hill ordered her soldiers to fire upon Captain America. Captain America resisted and fled in self-defense, and then amassed a team of people who agreed that the registration program was dangerous not only to them and their families, but also to the citizens of America. And when Captain America realized that the citizens of America did not want the superheroes to fight anymore, he preferred to forfeit rather than to continue doing what he thought best for America.
All right, good job.
I would like to start by saying that forcing the heroes to register not only endangers the superheroes' families and themselves, but it also risks their morals changing. I'd like to start on their family's danger to begin with, saying that, like, in the past, like, the identities, putting it, like, puts them all at risk, giving out their identities. Even if they are protected, they can be leaked. This can be shown as, like, a great example with Spider-Man, who his identity got out in a way to where that the Green Goblin found out, and he found one of the people closest to him, Gwen Stacy, and he either the Green Goblin killed him or Spider-Man killed her by trying to save her. Either way, it was as a result of the enemy finding out his name and finding who was closest to him. It puts his family and himself at risk. As well, as for their morals, I ask you to recall one of the last statements made by Captain America in the book. Falcon had just asked Captain America what was wrong, and he replied, "They are right, we're not fighting for the people anymore, Falcon, look at us, we're just fighting." Captain America still holds his morals above his pride and fear. That wouldn't be saying much if their side was losing, but they weren't, they were winning. He realized how hard the path would be for him would be, but he had the compassion not to drag the people into it.
Okay, first off, the leaking of identities, Peter Parker willingly said who he was. But along with that, y'all are talking about leaking names and who people are. Again, 90% of these superheroes are already known. How is this a privacy issue?
Okay, well, part of the leaking Peter Parker's name, that wasn't in the Civil War. This was previous to it. So that part's irrelevant. Also,
it's in Civil War.
But it's in Civil War.
As we said,
You talk about
No, it's
as we said, just because like some people have their identities revealed and it's worked out for them, that doesn't mean it's right.
All right, good job.
That's not a privacy
You guys
issue.
still want to say something else? All right, next person up. Next person.
I said before,
That's
that's what I said. But then you said it was illogical. Take a chill.
Okay, it doesn't matter, guys.
Yeah, it's
All right, back to go.
yeah.
We're just trying to make it.
Yeah.
Trying to make it.
Alright, my point is that with the government wanting to register with superheroes, wanting to have access to all of their information, who says that somebody won't take part in leaking all of that information? We have hackers in the world, we have people that just right now are fed up with superheroes. Who says that one of their employees working for SHIELD for the government won't turn against these superheroes and just leak any personal information or any information that can jeopardize not only the life of the superhero, but the life of their families, their loved ones, and the community. Some of these examples, I mean, in reality, we've had Edward Snowden leak files, we've had Bradley Manning files that have ruined operations, but also have affected many people and the lives of others. And I see that this is a pattern that although the government says that they'll take care of everything, their identity and everything, that revealing, keeping hold of their identity still means that somebody out there has to take hold of that personal information of the superhero and sell it or use it.
All right, good job. All right,
Okay, you talk about leaking information and all that, what it's nonsense and whatnot, and even though that does happen in the world, at the end of the day, everyone still has accounts on everything. Everyone still has credit cards. Everyone still has debit cards, even though those can get leaked. It's like if there's like a small percentage of something that happens, doesn't mean that we have to like ruin it for everybody else. And like just because there's a small chance that something might get leaked, just like there's with everything in the world, doesn't mean we have to like ruin everything else for the rest of the citizens in the world.
all right. Go.
You're talking about credit cards being leaked. You're talking about personal stuff for citizens being leaked. We're talking about superheroes with powers, with people that
risk their lives every day. That Shield wants to register them, keep them in their own databases and all of that, and just have them there for their personal information. Who says that they're not tracking them? Also, who says that they're not just keeping an eye on the superheroes? These information is vital to them because not only that, but there's also villains out there. You can leak credit card information, but then the bank company will pay you back. You can leak information on a superhero, but then what if a villain finds out? Then who's going to help that superhero? Or what if multiple villains find out?
All right, good job.
Woo! Got this!
Alright, so I'm going to talk about, I'm going to start off with a quote that I found from a regular civilian saying, but they don't get a buzz out of being legit. Freaks only get off on the masks and that mystery man garbage. This is how people who don't understand what it is like to be a superhuman sees, superhumans. And the truth is that you talk about how human beings need representation and they need, a group. There's groups for, basically every type of person out there, except for the superhumans, And even though you may think that, you may think that it will be okay to maybe take over superhumans' lives, or have the government control superhumans, it isn't right because they don't understand. There's not enough representation to, for the nobody in the government is a superhuman, and even if they are, they're just villains.
All right.
I think it's a trust issue that non-supers have with the supers. And you could compare it to normal citizens, non-supers, and people and normal citizens that carry guns all over the place. You don't trust somebody who's got 5 guns on them all the time, do you? I wouldn't. Even though I know that they have probably just as much, if not more, inclination to be good than bad. And that's my point.
Right. Well, I guess the main thing I was trying to say was that a human being has to represent somebody that's equal to them. They can't represent somebody who they can't understand. They can't understand how it is like to have superpowers and mutations and stuff like that. So, if anything, even Iron Man, he's just a human being who's really good at making, suits and technology. He's good at technology and he's rich and powerful, but he's technically just a human being as well. And he's the one who's in it.
Okay, awesome.
The only reason Captain is who he is because of a shot.
No. Oh, yeah. All right.
All right. Hello. It's me. I was my routine. What my main point is, my main point is that the government has gone. I want to talk about the curse of having power. There have been many instances and many famous studies, such as the Stanford prison study, that shows that when people are empowered, they can abuse that power. And not only study, but also if you want to look at police brutality, people who are hired by the government still abuse that power and get away with it by killing other people, by killing black people and various other people, and they still get away with it. And not only that, but there are instances in the comic book where the government has abused that power, such as hiring supervillains as well to nearly kill Spider-Man, hiring a cyborg Thor to kill another superhero. So I'm trying to say is the government can go extreme lengths to abuse their power of hiring these superheroes. So, yeah.
All right.
I feel like you literally just proved our point that the oh my gosh, I literally just went blank and was going. Okay, you literally just proved our point because it's like the superheroes, anyone can do something bad, just like in the Stanford Prison Act. Like you can just put someone normal and they're gonna go when they have authority telling them what to do and stuff. It's like with the superheroes, if you just let them like go and do whatever they want, they're not registered, even though they're good people like Captain America, nobody's perfect. He might end up doing something wrong. That's why we want them registered, is to make sure that everyone's held accountable for what they're doing. So I feel like what you just said was like for our side, so shout out to you.
Well, it is true that people have abused their powers, but this registration just happened. Superheroes have been around for a very long time, and they have also proven that they are able to take care of us. And, yeah.
All right, we got one
I can't
more.
believe we bring up there,
We got closing sequence.
Yeah, that's American me.
Go for
Wait, aren't they supposed to close statement first?
Oh, wait, yeah,
Really good on.
In conclusion, the Superhero Registration Act is a violation of the citizens, the superheroes, who are also citizens of America. It is the same as requiring all Muslims, all Jews, or all blacks to register. It is simply unfair. It is unconstitutional, and it is not right. The government should not have the right to say, oh, just because we don't like you right now, because of what a few people in your group did, the government should not have the right to then label everyone else as a mindless mass of murderers. The superheroes are the ones that fight super crime that the police, admirable though their efforts may be, simply cannot handle. I would love to see the police officer who tried to fight Dr. Octopus, but unfortunately he's in the ground and his family is still in mourning. The superheroes oppose the government because they are willing to hire supervillains to keep other people in line. And as Tony Stark famously ended this book, he promised that this was not the last piece of work to be done to keep the superheroes in line. This was simply 42 out of 100. And if number 42 is going to do this much to the superheroes, who knows where the last part will end.
Excellent job, guys. I'm going to ask your
Where's
three
the
audience
judges
members
today,
to
statements?
follow me out here. You guys can talk amongst yourselves.